Okay, sir. I'll make her also a co-host, then no issues.
Okay, okay.
Wait for 5 minutes, sir, then we can start.
Okay, right. How are you, madam?
Yeah, good, sir. Good.
Started going to college?
Already in college, sir. We are past 5 months we are in college only.
Okay. Uh, so admissions are going on, I think, now.
It's over, sir. First year classwork also started.
Oh, very good. This is for this is that AICTE 2-week STTP or 1 week?
2-week FDP, sir. So online mode, we supposed to conduct in 2 phases again.
Oh, cha.
This is 2nd week, sir. So almost
Oh.
8th day. Sir, shall we start, sir? Otherwise,
Please,
again you
please.
have.
Please. I am waiting.
Very good afternoon to all. Today's speaker, Dr. G Srinivas Garu. He is from Department of Information Management and Coordination, NITTTR, Chandigarh. Sir is expert in outcome-based education and learning objectives, how to frame the learning objectives and outcomes. All the way, sir guides us also. So I welcome to you, sir. Sir, will you start the session, sir?
Yeah. Thank you, madam. And it is really good. And the topic is very apt for this kind of online education, workplace learning, and collaborative learning. Basically, this workplace learning and collaborative learning was very famous in corporates earlier.
Yes,
Now
sir.
it has come to the education, and now education is not less than corporates in any workload or stress or anything. So we are more, because the corporates have to do only one job, whereas our teachers have to do multiple jobs. They have to teach, they have to publish, they have to do research, they have to do consultancy, they have to do projects, and finally they have to take care of their home also. So in that way, somewhere we should, as a teacher, one is following this outcome based education, another one is effective documentation, another one is consolidating these reports in a single accessible way. Then finally you should become a smart worker. Rather than hard worker, we should become smart workers. In the sense, for example, I am teaching a subject from last 4 years. So last 4 years, you are preparing the notes, you are going to the class, you are delivering the lecture, and you are maintaining the attendance register. If I ask you where they are, everybody will start rushing during the NBA period. They will not get any documents properly. So somewhere we are not smart enough to use these tools and technologies that are available today as a part of community, as a dissemination, as well as a kind of an online documentation. For example, none of us have developed the course page. For example, if you are teaching a subject from last 4 years, you develop a course page, you will have all your previous contents in the course page. You can reuse that same content next year also. Only some questions you will add, some test papers you will add. So if you have the repository of this course page in a wiki page or something, that is also one example of a collaborative learning or workplace learning. So majority of us are not contributing towards these wiki pages. There is a space, okay, and we are not using. For example, we are still today. I have seen many of the websites of the colleges. They are putting the timetable on the Word format, and they are putting the PDF. Why it is required? You can create a calendar in your Gmail, in your institutional Gmail address. You can create a calendar. You can schedule online classes as per your this one. You can share it with your students. But unfortunately, we are not exploiting the incentives or the technology benefits that we have. So we are not using Google effectively. We are using it in discrete in bits and pieces. We are not using the Gmail, Google products in a kind of a sequence of day. For example, I will ask you, you can create a timetable and schedule the classes for your whole semester in Google Calendar. And you can share it with your students. The students will get an auto, they will get a response from the people. And you can document everything. You can create a classroom and put the quizzes properly. So you can have a Google web page showing you. So you are not using these things as a product, as a whole product, or you can call it as an academic ERP. We are using it in bits and pieces. So therefore, somewhere we are not smart enough to cope up with these technologies. So therefore, it is outcome-based education. What is the outcome here? Effective communication is the outcome here. You are actually teaching the student how to use these kind of ICT tools, because you see in one of our program objectives or one of our program outcomes, you should have a lifelong learning is one, and effective use of tools for dissemination of knowledge is also one of the important criteria. So use of these kind of technology, you are making the student very efficient in handling the digital tools. Unfortunately, we are not doing that. So let me have a small presentation on how to use the ICT tools.
Sir, can I unshare my slide?
Yes. Yeah.
So you can share now, sir.
Yeah. So now let us see. I hope that the screen is visible. According to me, what is this role and ICT, other media in enhancing the classroom communication? They are very important. As I told you, none of these contents are mine. They are taken from different sources available on internet. Okay. Then what are the typical contents? See, usually the traditional classroom communication, if you are using, the major thing is we use a monotonous lecture, use blackboard white chalk or whiteboard black marker. That is the only change we have done. We spend most of our time in notes giving, teachers on the stage and students on the desk. So we always feel that the students are inferior. Teachers assume that the students don't know anything. Teachers assume that the students don't have much information apart from the textbook. That's how we teach. We should get out of this kind of thinking, right? So teacher expects a silent classroom. How it is possible? It is not possible. Not much of activities beyond giving lectures and homework. So these were all very good till 90s. As printing costly, textbooks were not available. There was no internet. And earlier students used to depend only on the class notes. But now The situation is completely different. The students have access to high-speed internet. They search via Google everything, because even to reach from one place to another place, people are now dependent on Google. Not only text, online lectures from experts can be viewed very effectively. So many texts with tons of solved problems for preparation. For if you go for 10th or 12th board exam, you will get more books than the questions. So many online courses are available. So many online books, web pages, information repository of universities, papers and all. So with this context, how to deliver the lecture in a classroom, how to collaboratively learn, how to enhance your workplace learning is very difficult, or it is too easy. You will have a mixed feeling. If you say everything is there on the website, you learn, then it is very easy. If you want to teach beyond it, then it will be very difficult, right? So in this context, how ICT and media can be used to enhance your classroom communication skills with better engagement and learning outcomes is the major issue, right? So now, what are the tools that are available for better classroom communication? We have a lot of PowerPoint presentations, lecture notes captured via smart boards, desktop computers with browsers and internet connection, personalized iPads, laptops, smartphones, digital notebooks. Alexa, you need not even type. You ask Alexa, she will find something for you, right? So you have too many classroom communication tools that are available. So there are a lot of collaborative learning spaces that are available, like Web 2.0, blogging, wiki, social media. You can use Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, even LinkedIn. There is a LinkedIn education page, Facebook education page, mobile learning apps, lecture notes in electronic formats. Okay. So many things are available now. So how to effectively use them is a very important aspect in our thing. 1 minute, sorry. So let us see what is this Web 2.0. Web 2.0 is something which you can read and write into the web. See, for example, wiki pages. You can also edit the wiki pages, right? It is not only read only web, you can write into the web. That is what Web 2.0 talks about. And you have a podcast, which is a multimedia file that is distributed for subscription over internet using some syndication feeds for a playback on mobile devices and pursuit. You can have a podcaster. You have a RSS is the family of web feed formats used to publish frequently updated web pages such as blogs or news feeds and so on, right? Then blog. You can actually encourage your students to write blogs. That will have a better communication. What is the outcome that you are going to enhance? They will have better communication and collaborative learning, because when they write the blogs, the students write the blogs, others will read it, they will review it. So the students will participate in such kind of intellectual event, right? So blog is also a very good tool that is used for effective classroom communication. Wiki is a very different kinds of website that is available. It is a type of website that allows the visitors themselves to easily add, remove, otherwise edit and change some of the available contents without the need of any registration. So that is basically the major point. I think everybody are aware of this Wikipedia. There is something called YASNS. It is also yet another social networking service which is also available, right? So how Web 2.0 is used in teaching learning? It is used as a social software in education. It is used as a collaborative information discovery. It is something called social bookmarking. It is for social writing platforms like blogs. Wiki is used for student group learning and faculty development programs. RSS are used for clipping services. Podcasting is used for notes taking services. Okay, like this, you can actually use these softwares for a better classroom, workplace learning, and collaborative learning. So what is blog? It is something like you write some reviews or whatever you feel like. You express your feeling to the rest of the people via the World Wide Web. That is the that. So you can have a blog as your own journal and bloggers also as a product. Many people, I was just seeing a blog of some person, a chef who is actually making very good recipes, and actually there is a good citation for his blog. Okay. So how do we create a blog skill? You have to create a blog concept. You need not have anything. What you have to do, you should have a little knowledge about internet of concepts, application, technology, implications of individuals, organization, and society. Then some internet skills like how to develop a small application, how to create the contents using text, images, audio, video, and so on. So you can create a blog within 3 minutes. Like you can go to blogger.com and choose the title and the URL of your blog and choose an appropriate template. So this is just go to Blogger, you have a demo, then just choose a template of a blog, and finally your blog is now ready, right? This is your blog. So you can have a good blogger. So you can encourage students to write blogs. That is very important. Then very important is using wikis for teaching and learning. I think once Dr. Srinidhi comes, he will give the demo of these wikis also. Is Srinidhi here? He has not yet joined. No issue. So how do we teach wiki? Use wiki in the sense, what is a wiki? It is a web page with an edit button, easy to use, a perfect tool for collaborative learning. Here, the world's easiest thing to use wiki. No experience is recovery necessary. You are just up and running within a minute. And there are other good wiki sites also like PBWiki, WetPaint, and other things. Okay. So why do you want to bring this wiki in the classroom? It is a great motivator for students, easy to monitor, allows for creativity and innovation, encourages the participation of all the students, promotes communication between student, teachers, and parents. It is a new, interesting way to learn, right? How I can use it in a classroom? Simple websites, peer-reviewed projects. It can be used for peer-reviewed projects, group projects, managing the school and classroom documents. It can be used for classroom discussions and debates. It can be used for teacher collaboration. It can be used for posting the classroom assignments. It can be used for collaborating within international classrooms also. So you have to have a user account. You will have a wiki space. First, you identify a wiki space, existing username, password, and email address. Okay. Then a wiki on which you can collaborate, and each page can consist of multiple pages. You have an user account, you have a wiki space, and so on. So wiki spaces have different permissions, like they can be made it as public, protected, or private. So anyone can view or edit your wiki space, or anyone can view your space with only the members who can edit, and only like this. So you can have an edit page. You can edit whatever. You can actually create good number of notes and other things on the wiki space. And you can add links on your own wiki. There is no issue. And you can add images on the wiki. So these are all you can learn within 5 minutes. Then you can add media to your wiki. You can add any media to your wiki. You can add additional resources. Please go. There is one. Just check. Srinidhi has come. Thank you. I will take Srinidhi. I will just take 5 minutes. So wiki space, you can create your student accounts, and there is a good web page for creating your own wiki space, right? Then the communication, I will not go much in detail. there are two kinds of communication that you are supposed to do in this, either synchronous, it is online chat or mobile technology or satellite, or asynchronous communication where people participate in discussion forum, blogs, e-groups, Wikipedia, Google search, mobile SMS, MMS, podcasting, and many others. So these are all very much used. So people can use the ICT in education in a very effective way for personalization, content management, classroom management, and so on. Okay. So usually the effective say is I hear, I forget, I see, I remember, and I do, I never forget. Okay. So basically the necessity of ICT is for effective learning. It is for all, it is anytime, it is anywhere, and so on. So what are the learning objectives of these? This storage capacity displayed, exploration, application, analysis, evaluation, and construction and design of project. They are all useful for these kind of learning objectives, right? They are also used for presentation, demonstration, drill and practice, animation and simulation, research, collaboration and communication, management of student learning. So these are all the learning objectives that will tell you a better workplace and collaborative learning scenario. So what are the potential use of ICT? Access, efficiency, learning, teaching, skill information, lifelong learning, planning and management, and community linkages. These are all the outcomes of using a better workplace or collaborative learning tools like this ICT tools. So how today's teenager views media? This is very important. Nobody will read a newspaper. They never intend to own their landline phone. Everybody want to have a mobile. They are not at all interested in television. They are only interested in only the, what is that, Google Play and movies and other things. They believe everything that will move to mobile. Everybody believe that everything will move to mobile. They expect internet to be always available. The community at the center of internet experience now. And we want to be very active participants, and we want to move the content freely from one platform to another platform. So this is what actually the teenagers' viewpoint on usage of media. So therefore, people now talking about this blended learning. So there is a global demand for education. Everybody knows that the students are, so what is that blended to open learning? Internet. The purpose is development of a systematic vision of optimal exploitation of ICT and internet in the new learning of 21st century, and they provide an alternative respective aiming at formulating a long-term policy objective, right? So blended online open learning, blended means they blend both online and face-to-face for campus. It is a blend, like mixer may, if you put all masalas, the blender will give you a chutney. Like online means anywhere, online only anywhere. Dual mode means blended and equivalent online. Open means online open entry, like open universities, MOOCs and other things. So people should not confuse with all these things. Blended is different, online is different, dual mode is different, open is different. So online learning offers opportunity for high fixed cost and low support cost. Teaching cost will be managed and problems. So therefore, but there are a lot of other problems. Students lack motivation and independence in learning. Assessment is do not motivate the learning needed. Okay, students have a digital life untapped by their higher education course. Academics interested in research rather than teaching. Employers dissatisfied with the graduate skills. So how do we actually tackle all these problems? So we should create a scenario where students can use a better ICT tool and they get some interest, they are always active and they do something better. Okay, so like this, there are certain things. So now let me stop my presentation. I request Srinidhi, sorry, there are so many things that are open. Yeah, I have stopped my presentation. I think Srinidhi, you can give a demo of how to create some wiki pages and do a collaborative learning, and also use of some kind of podcast and other kind of tools for students.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, you can continue.
Yeah, I will continue in the same session. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay,
Please,
sir.
you can.
Yeah. Uh, Very good afternoon to all of you. I hope my screen is visible to all of you.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So, thank you very much, KGS sir, for giving me the session to continue here. So, it is a very interesting topic that we are seeing as of now is the collaborative learning in the perspective of outcome-based education, where everyone now we are in a situation of viewing the outcomes of the education and how collaboratively and interactively we can do it for the upcoming generation of the students. So the session that is planned as of now is, let us dive into various strategies of the collaborative learning and its methods, and then I will show you a very interesting demo on the method called as think, pair, share, one of the very good strategies of collaborative learning. So what is collaborative learning? It is actually an umbrella term for variety of educational approaches. So there are various ICT methods, right? There are various ICT methods such as the wiki spaces, podcasts, Padlet, and we can say like group projects, right? So usually students they work in groups and with the mutual searching for understandings of the solutions and meanings of it, and then they will try to come up with a product or a service based on the project definition in the project, right? So collaborative learning means it is a umbrella term for variety of the educational approaches and with a joint intellectual effort by the students and also the teachers working together. So it involves various activities such as the students exploration on the course material and not simply on the teacher's presentation or the contents in the PPT. That is known as the collaborative learning, right? So it is basically we give a abstractive way of the problem statement, then the students start working in groups collaboratively and start their exploration by first reading the materials and then implementing the prototypes and then enhancing the prototypes to a definitive advantage of finally working towards the implementation in the final goal into a product. So this is known as a collaborative learning. Why we have to use collaborative learning is the question. It is the need of the hour. See, behind every good teacher is an exhausted class, right? I think everyone will agree with this point here, because whenever we have to prepare for 1 hour of the class, we usually take 3 to 4 hours, an extensive preparation in order to make sure that we reach to the students, right? So why how we can do that, right? Tell me I forget, show me I remember, involve me I understand, right? So if we forget, then we have to ask, tell me what I have forgotten here, right? So usually we have to use a method here. So it is a very good proverb here. So basically what is the meaning of this proverb is, usually there should be a tendency in the presentation approach of the learning by the teacher, saying that we have to ask the students to say, tell me what I have forgotten here, right? So we have to make a mistake in the PPT and then ask the students, tell me what I have forgotten. Then while we are solving the problem, see for example, when we are solving the problem related to a back propagation in deep learning or say for example, a pre-order traversal, right? So we have to ask the students, show me how to do the pre-order traversal so that I can remember, right? So this is one of the ways of collaborative learning between the teacher and the students, so that it will be very interactive with the students. Finally, it is involve me, I understand. There are many new technologies that we have to start exploring in the direction of in the direction of computer science, information science, civil engineering, or mechanical engineering, right? So when we involve with the students, even we understand the concepts behind it, and then we have to again go back to the cycle of it. So give a man a fish, right? You have fed him for today. Teach a man to fish, and you have fed him for a lifetime, right? So that is a very uh, motivation that we should have. We should first give the student the course material, right? So we have fed him the course material. Then teach a man, that teach a student how to read the course material, right? We should teach the students how to read it in a methodical way, and not by just pressing down the arrow mark down. And then we have fed the student the entire lifetime of the education day. So that is the essence of the collaborative learning here. So that is why it is an umbrella term that has been used for various activities down the line of the active learning. So what are the various strategies here? So I am basically concentrating on active learning. That is one of the term under the umbrella of collaborative learning. It involves a set of instructional activities by both learners who are doing things, and also about what they are doing. It is derived from it is derived on the basis of two assumptions. See, learning is by nature an active process. It cannot be a very passive and a mundane process. It is not a mundane activity. It has to be very active learning, and it will take some time. So obviously different people will learn in different ways, right? So we have a weak learner in the class, average learner in the class, excellent learner in the class. So we have to concentrate as a teacher on all of these three learners, and make sure that all the students are actively involved in the learning of the particular course or the program, right? So why we have to engage in active learning? Basically, the strategies will promote for the mastery of the content, and superior in promoting the development of the learner's skills in perspective of the thinking. It has a very powerful impact on the learner's learning there. So the important perspective of the active learning here is the essence of indulging the learner's learning, so that the learner will start to think on the respective skills that he or she has to develop in the respective course or the curriculum. So that is the notion of the active learning. Also, various learning styles. See, always we cannot have a kind of PPT, or we cannot have the problem worksheets, or we cannot always give a group project, right? So each individual course and each individual program has their own perspectives of learning. So we have to engage the learners in the higher order thinking tasks, such as what? First, we have to go for analysis, synthesis, and then evaluation, right? So first, we have to always start giving the questions that is related in the manner of analyze, right? See, for example, let me take an example of the course known as the data structures here, right? So in the data structures, typically we have stacks and queues included in any part of the syllabus, right? So now what kind of question that we can give on the analyze level, so that all the learners can be given? See, giving a direct question such as implement a queue, implement a basic queue with the with what you say pushing the we thought to say pushing the element, delete the element, and print the elements, right? So instead of that, give a queue with 7 elements. Okay, you can start by giving the question as there is a queue of 7 elements with the values as 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, etc. like that. And then question number A, you can give. Now, if a new value 12 has to be added at the position, it has to be added at the queue, write the method for it. So the student will start to analyze now what is the method behind it, right? Now, what is synthesis here? Synthesis is an example of printing the elements of the queue. Now you can say, now you can say, write a pseudo code to print all the elements in the queue in the sorted order. So you are synthesizing the given elements in the queue. Next coming to the part of evaluation. So evaluation means what? Now you can give for the same question, what you can give for the evaluation part. Suppose you can say the queue has been now altered as, right, with some of the deletion of the elements, right? Now, what, let's say you have 7 elements in the queue. Now you can say the queue has been altered such that there are only 3 elements left in the queue, right? Now, write a pseudo code such that the elements, the remaining spaces in the queue can be added. Now you are evaluating the student to evaluating the student to understand the concept of the whole queue system here, right? So that is known as the evaluation. So various learning styles are best served by engaging the learners in active learning activities. Obviously, the benefit of active learners is the knowledge in making the meaning from the content. So we have to first make the content and then derive the knowledge out of it. So active learners, they think critically about and they create their own elaborations, right? So that is the benefit of deriving the active learning here. And most importantly, it is cognitively engaged. What is cognitively engaged perspective that we are trying to see here, right? So cognitively engaged in the sense we are talking about the levels of the knowledge with respect to each of it. So the levels of the knowledge can be remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, and then create. So that is the notion of cognitively engaging the active learners so that they employ wide range of reading and learning strategies here. So these are the basic uses of active learning and the definition of your active learning. So just to summarize, we have now seen that active learning focuses on the learner's learning and then think about it, right? So that is the notion of your active learning. So what are the various examples of active learning strategies here? So the various examples of active learning strategies, right? They are think, pair, share, lecture, discussion, right? Questioning, case studies, then supervise the study. Demonstration is also considered as one of the active learning strategy. Panel discussion, right? So we will go one by one here. What are the various strategies of the active learning? We will go one by one. And after this, I will demo one tool that is a part of the strategy known as think, pair, stay, right? So basically, we have to energize the classroom. So how do we energize the classroom is we have to think outside the box, right? We have to see what are the ideas, discovery, experiment, and change is always good. So we have to accept the change and then move on. So change is always good, right? The main thing that we should always do, okay, actually if you want to, you can always go back to this here. So it is one of the brainstorm activity. So can you can write down now what are the ways that your professors taught you, right? So we have all come from that phase, right? We have all come from that phase where we have learned from our professors how to teach, what to teach, and why we have to teach that in that method only. See, there are some effective methods and there are some ineffective methods, right? So we have to see what was ineffective methods that was taught by our professors and try to put it in the column of effective, right? So can one or two members just share your thoughts on your what do you say? What are the effective methods that your professors has taught you, right? So I request all the members to go back to your good olden days of the students and try to recall what was the effective methods that the professors has taught. Okay, so see the effective methods, it can be the group-based project, right? So very traditionally, we always see about the group-based methods, group-based projects. Try to do the project in a group, right? So that was the traditional way of doing. Now, actually, if you see, we think it is an effective, but it falls into the class of ineffective, right? So now how can we make, right? So we have to involve in peer discussions, right? So all those things can be made as the effective methods. Now, what is actually active learning? If you see, this is one of the tips that has been taken from Horton and Mifflin. Okay, you have to always measure the time of class versus the percentage retained, right? So this is a very active thing that we have to do. Suppose if you are using Zoom in your institutions, you can call up the respective contact persons that is involved with you in providing the Zoom, and they will give you this type of chart. Okay, like actually, if you see the traditional way of lecture, right? Initially, yes, all the students, all if you see what happens in this, if your lecture, right? Most of them, they will be, most of them, they will be learning it, right? So initially, what happens in the traditional learning curve, if we see all the 60, 60, 65, 70 students, definitely they will be listening to our class, right? But after that, the curve will start coming down at the end of the class. So that should not happen. So how we should be effective so that all the students they can keep listening to the class. So that is very much keen here. So in the case of active learning, what happens is the until that class the it remains active. So if we make our class very active, the active learning will help here. Okay, so these are the ways it should be taught. So this type of curve we should always keep in mind when it is with respect to the active learning. So if we look at the pyramid of the active learning, right? What is the pyramid it looks like? So this pyramid has been adapted from the audio visual methods in teaching from the research given by the Rinhard and Winston, right? So if you look at the bottom of the pyramid, right, it is actually doing the real thing. So how to read this pyramid is we have to read it from top to bottom, right? See, first always what we do, we start reading 10% of what reading. Then we hearing words. We will try to hear from our peers. Then looking at the pictures. Then watching a slight video tape or a movie related to that. Then it is looking at the exhibit, projects, what other peers are doing, watching a demonstration, seeing it done on location, what happens exactly in the location. All these things, they belong to the passive. Passive it is. Okay. Looking at pictures, looking at exhibit, watching a movie, it is not active. It is not active learning. Okay. What is active? You have to participate in a discussion. We have to make students to participate in a discussion, giving a talk, doing a dramatic presentation. Dramatic presentation means role based learning. We are talking about role based learning or playing the roles, right? So those are known as doing a dramatic presentation. Then simulating the real experience, right? That is simulation. If you are not able to do a project at a location or in a specified way, simulate it. Then doing the real thing. These will fall into the active. Now, at the left side of this pyramid, if we see, after 2 weeks, what happens when we start reading? After 2 weeks, if we try to remember, only 10% we can recollect of what we have read. Hearing the words, that is obviously it would have been changed, right? 20% of what we hear. Then looking at pictures, watching the lectures on other courses, MOOCs, 30% of what we see. Then you are watching the demonstration, seeing it done on location, everything. It is 50% of what we see and hear after 2 weeks. But if we involve, okay, if we involve in the active learning strategies, right? 70% of what we say we can recall after the 2 weeks. Okay, so those things are very much needed when with respect to the uh, active learning here. Okay. So these things has to be essentially remembered when we talk about the active learning and the advantages of the active learning. So and but actually doing a presentation, simulating the real experience or doing the real thing, everything, right? So there 90% of what we say can be done. Okay, so these are the ways that it can be advantages of the active learning. So this is the pyramid of active learning. Okay, students solve problems, answer questions, formulate questions of their own, discuss, explain, debate, or brainstorm during the class. So what is the active learning here, right? It is problem-based learning, cooperative learning. Here comes the cooperative learning. Okay, so that is actually an umbrella term. That's why I told you. Then learn by doing, inquiry-based learning, right? See, students solve the problems. That is falling into the category of problem-based learning. Student formulate the questions on their own. What is that? They are learning by doing. Okay. Students discuss, explain, debate. That is inquiry-based learning. But as students brainstorming during the class, that is known as cooperative learning. These are the four pillars of the active learning. It is learn by doing, cooperative learning, inquiry based learning, and problem based learning. So these are the essential things that has to be taken care of, taken care when we are when we are involved in the active learning. So what is the purpose of it? It will definitely increase the student participation. Definitely it will increase the student participation. Then student engagement, we will come to know who are the weak learners, who are the average learners, who are the excellent learners. Student retention, very much important. We can retain the student. More student ownership in the course rather than teacher ownership in the course. Less lecturing by the instructor and more high level thinking and the classroom experience. So how we can improve the lectures? Always keep in mind of the lecture that we are delivering for today, not tomorrow. Plan the objectives for today, not tomorrow. What is the objective of 1 hour? In 1 hour, how much time we take for explaining the concept? 15 minutes, objective of it. Then example problem solve, 15 minutes. Then rest half an hour or rest 40 minutes should be kept aside completely for the student. It should be only half an hour lecture that we have to give when we have to do the active learning. Obviously, we have to include graphics, charts, graphs, all the things we have to include. Then we have to annotate of what we have planned. What is annotation? We have to retrospect it. We have to annotate what you want to annotate, right? So if you want to give a figure and fill in that figure, right? So one of the strategies that I have employed myself for software engineering subject is, once I tell them the different software engineering models, in the next class, I will keep the boxes as it is and I will ask them to fill it so that it is they can also recap for both the sides. It is a recap for myself and also for the students. So we have to plan what you want to annotate, right? Learning the students' names will be a very important point. Cue the important points, that is, you can always have a cue maintaining on a rough sheet. What are the important points that should be discussed throughout the lecture? Okay, and then we have to give some short activities. Okay, so what are all the short activities that has to be performed, right? So those things has to be taken down very seriously of it. Then give students time to generate the questions. That is an important part of active learning. They, it is not alone learning by doing or inquiry based learning. They, we have to ask the students to generate their own questions as well. That is known as active learning. They should also be in a situation to generate their own questions and have the students to summarize some major points. Okay, so what are the active techniques? It is think, pair, share, role playing, simulations, and the clearest point or muddiest point, group quizzing. This can be done. Generate the list in the sense, make it as a point of sequence chart. I will explain what is generating the list in the upcoming slide. Then we have to give the minute papers and writing assignments. Okay, so minute papers is a kind of assignment that we can give as a part of active learning for each lecture or weekly lecture. Okay, so especially for some theory oriented subjects, like for example software engineering, I have practiced myself where some amount of marks is also kept for the students, where weekly minutes they have to submit what was discussed in the class. Okay, weekly minutes you can divide it as well. So at the last hour in the week, okay, you can ask the students to submit minute meets of the class and allocate some 2-3 points to that, so that even students will start writing. And more importantly, the participation of the student will be active, as you can see, because you are making them to write minute meets and writing assignments. Instead of writing assignments, minute papers, that is important. So that is known as minute papers. PBL, that is project based learning and case studies, it depends on the subject and the curriculum. Concept maps is always a very good project. So what is concept map? I think you would have known at this point. We have to represent the organized knowledge, and it might include your examples, linking words, concepts, ideas. So, if possible, I will share in the end. One of the things that I used to do is ask the students to write a concept map on the entire week as well. Okay, I would have given a small example how to write a concept map, so that the student has picturized himself what he is learning, right? What he is learning, right? You can ask the students to write a concept map on a weekly minute, right? So that weekly minute, right? So that can be a part of assessing where how we are able to picturize the course in the student's mind, right? So very important. That is, however we come to know, right? So that cannot be a part of it, right? So we can ask the students in that. Where are we heading here? Just a minute if we glance, right? So that is the notion of the concept map. So typically, if you see, the concept map will definitely help in the nature of understanding the picture orientation of the respective course or the program in the student's mind. Obviously, where are you heading in imparting the quality in education? So what is quality in education here? Quality is never an accident, right? It is always the result of high intention, your sincere effort, intelligent direction, and skillful execution. with wise choice of many alternatives. What alternatives? See, I cannot say I will always use concept map, right? Or I always use think, pair, share. Alternatives we have to do. See, for example, in computer network, simulation will play a key role. Then group quizzing. Okay, group quizzing, you can always do it for program oriented subjects, right? For example, object oriented programming using C++ or Java, right? Group quizzing we can do. So group quizzing will make sure that the students will learn very actively, right? And project based learning for the upcoming technologies, right? See, even though there are not very much good books on, for example, augmented reality, virtual reality, but project based learning will make sure that the student will learn in the respective technology. So project based learning is one such example. So imparting quality will always depend on wide choice of alternatives, but with skillful execution and with the high intention of putting sincere effort. So that is how we can impart the quality in the education, right? So just to again recap what we are telling about the active learning here is we have to debate the ideas, ask questions, right? Compare answers to what is known. That is known as think, pair, share. So and then we have to make the ideas public. Yes, obviously we have to avoid the passive learning because it creates a boredom for the student, commonly seen as filling the brain with knowledge taught by an authority, not by himself, right? So that is known as. So active learning inspires the community of learners who embody the dignity, energy, self-management, and awareness. So what are the research that is going on as of now in the active learning strategy? It is engaging, explicit, intentional, systematic, and fun. Choral responses has to be recorded very clearly in the case of the active learning. So for example, the responses that we record, we always use when answers are short or the same. When we read a passage, reinforce a concept or knowledge based information, right? So more responses, more learning, more attentive there, right? So that is the notion of the choral response. What are the examples of the physical responses? See, it can be pointing up, sideways, upside down to get an assessment of students' level of understanding. Okay, first of five, you can rate it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 means what? I am beginning to understand. That is, a student is beginning to understand. Physical responses I am talking about here. Okay, then it can be I could use more practice. 2, 3, I need some help. What help? 4, I can do it alone. 5, I know it well. So on the rate of 1 to 5, we can get the set of physical responses. More examples on the physical responses can be your speedometer reading. That is, you can use the arms or you can even walk or run to show the understanding of it. More, see, it is more of active learning. So we have to engage it, right? So unfortunately, if we had a physical session now, I could have actually made the participants in the workshop to ask them how so far the active learning has been taught or has been known to you. We could have asked, tell your number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So that is how we can judge it. So based on that, we can tune in our lecture as well. Or reaching for the top, that is extend one arm straight up in the air. 2, 4, 6, or 8 demonstrate the level of understanding. Index cards, we have to prepare and give it. So this is also one of the good things that we can actually make now because of the physical cards that we get. Okay, happy face, straight face, or a sad face, right? So what has happened at the end of the class? So how was the session or the class for today? We can ask, right? So it can be for the student feelings or the character feelings easily. So then also it can be the partner responses. So whenever we are doing the group quizzing or the group project, right? So there we have to see what are the different responses that we get from a partner. So that is we can use when answers are long or different. So usually we can say teacher assigns each student a number, right? One or two. Students are able to partner up and share their answers, right? Say we number the students from 1 to 10, then we partner up the students as odd number and even number, so they have to share the answers, their answers, like that. So those can be the kind of things that can be done with the help of the active learning. Yes. So think, write, pay, share. So now we have come to that. Here, what is the technique here? Students listen while the teacher poses questions or a task. They are given a quiet time to answer the question. Then they are queued up to pair with the neighbor and discuss their responses, noting the similarities and the differences. That is known as think, write, pair, and then share. Okay. So after rehearsing the responses, students they have to share publicly. They have to say, my partner has pointed out, my partner mentioned that, we agreed that, we decided that. See, that is known as your pair and sharing there. That is what is happening in the case of pair and sharing, right? So, for example, typically in a software engineering subject, we can use this think, write, pair, share pedagogy, where we can ask the students to pair up and discuss among themselves what would be the better choice of a software model for a given scenario. So after that, when we individually ask the groups, they have to come out with saying as, my partner mentioned that, we agreed that, we decided that, right? So all these things can be clearly pointed out in the case of think, write, pair, and share. One of the other strategy of active learning is give one, get one. That is, students write their names legibly on a piece of paper. They write several ideas and draws a line after the last idea to separate the ideas from those they select from the classmate list. They move around the classroom and interact with one classmate at a time. They exchange papers, read the list, and then ask questions about the new or the confusing ideas. Okay, so this can be done in the subject of your EIPR or IPR, intellectual property rights, right? So when there has to be a software, you can take the example of the software patent, right? So what are all the several ideas that can be given? It is new ideas or confusing ideas. Then it is about talking chips. What is talking chips? Students, we will pose a question for students to discuss. Each student is given a chip, a small piece of paper or a poker chip. They take turns by placing their chip into the center of the table. That is, everyone is given a equal chance. The disadvantage of this think, write, pair, share, right? What happens in think, write, pair, share? Sometimes we doesn't come to know who has actually shared what, right? But in the case of talking chips, when a student places the chip at the center of the table, everyone is given an equal chance, so that the students cannot speak again until all the members have placed their chip in the middle of the table. So this ensures that every student has been given an equal and fair chance to express his or her idea about a given point. Then small group discussion and review strategy, right? So review means what? It can be done in teams of 1 or 4. The teacher keeps on asking a series of questions, that is one at a time, right? They discuss and the teacher can call on a number and the student with specific number can raise a hand and ready to respond, right? So that is the students they are encouraged to acknowledge similarities and differences between the team's response as that of the other teams. So it can be saying that we predicted a very different outcome, or our approach is similar to other approach, right? So those different types of things can be easily seen. Wraparounds, that is known as participants will form a circle initially. Each individual takes a turn telling that some things the student will use from the lesson, something the student will remember from today. So they will say, I have learned, I hope to learn, wraparounds, right? So at the end of the class or at the end of the mid of the course, this can be definitely done in the mid of the semester or in the mid of the course, like say after 2 units of a course. We can ask small groups of the students to form a group around a circle, and then they can explicitly say about the course, I have learned, I hope to learn, right? So it is about they will start to learn by themselves what they have learned in the course. Written responses. This is very much important for active learning in almost all the courses, right? So we can have a feedback from the student saying that list 3 reasons, 2 examples, or 1 prediction. Like say what? Today I learned. Tomorrow I need. This is very much important in the case of laboratory subjects, right? Say we will give one program for one lab, right? So they will execute, they will get the output, and we will also evaluate, right? So one of the small things that we can always put at the end of the worksheet is today I learned. A student will write what learning has happened. Tomorrow I need means in the next lab I need, right? So they might have faced some difficulty in the system configuration, or they might have experienced some internet connectivity. That is one, right? So we can also understand that, or they might be expecting a little bit higher level of question or a lower level of question, right? Say they can say tomorrow in the next lab I need a question that is a little bit that is low, that is the where the difficulty level is as low compared to this, right? Today I felt because, that is your example, right? And then it can be I would execute the program on say polynomial expressions because next I hope we next. So these keywords will definitely give an insight to that a student is actively involved in the course, right? So one word to describe today is, what is the one word, right? So I felt like a dash during what, right? So all these things can be a sort of written responses. Basically, the second point would be an attractive in the case of the laboratory oriented subjects. Okay, so these things has to be clearly seen in such a way, right? These things has to be done clearly in such a way that it has to be uh, today I learned, tomorrow I need. So all these things has to be done very clearly. And we can also have some metacognitive markers for to identify students work with a task, passage, or reading assignment, right? Something we already know, star, dollar, right? Emotional response like exclamatory, unanswered question, We can mark the students with these symbols and keep a track of it so that we can make them actively involved in the course. As I told you, 10-word summary we can put or a 2-minute paper. In 2 minutes, draw or write what you remember from the lesson or what you have learned today. Very small methodology that everyone of us can incorporate so that we can in turn say it has been mapped to a course outcome, right? Yes, this can be mapped to a course outcome in 10 words or less. The most important aspects from today's discussion. This might be a difficult one where we have to place a large piece of poster paper on the wall. Ask the students to write any words that they have that they can think about the lesson or the topic for the day. Okay, so as the lesson goes along, students can add the words that they learn. So these are the different ways that a student can learn actively in the active learning. Then it can be rotation of reflection, that is words or drawings. We can have a recorder fill in the chart with the ideas generated. Then we can assign small groups to each location, post the charts around the room with a related topic written on each sheet. And then we can ask the groups to move around the next chart and respond to that topic. So groups can continue around the room to each chart. So these are the strategies that we have seen. In order to summarize, what are the active learning strategies? It is your group projects, right? So group projects means carry out in a group, but we have to make sure that everyone in the group is participating actively, right? So those things has to be correctly involved. Then it is about role playing. So how we can make sure that each of the concept can be understood in a course by make use of role playing. Then research. Research can be in the form of think, pair, share method, table quizzes, crosswords, a very important active learning strategy. We can design the crosswords and ask the students to fill. Word search is also one of the active learning strategy. Mind maps, that is related to the concept maps. Think, pair, share, paid reading, right? And then drill and review pairs. Then turn to your neighbor summaries. We can ask the student to put in a groups and turn to your neighbor summaries. 4-step review, right? 4-step review means we have to see the analyze, right? Apply, evaluate, and then create. Matching exercises, that is also one of the active learning strategies. Then whip around means, as I've discussed, go around the room and continue to see. Then graphic organizers, the graphic organizers can be the graphic wall where the students go and write, right? So group work means it should be always in the medium size, and it depends on number of factors. And it is team. The keyword has to be time. They give remembered for the group work is team. T stands for the time, E for the experience, A for the age, and M for the materials. The size of the group should always made based on time, experience, age, and the material. Other factors that we have to give is give only one copy of the materials per group so that everyone will be having the same material. Intergroup competition. We have to have a sense of competitiveness between the groups within the class so that the material is learned the best. How to assign the groups? It can be random assignment, one thing, or teacher selected or self-selected groups. Based on these strategies only we are doing. Role playing, it can be like consumer conflict with the retailer, the person at the work, industrial relations, resolving a dispute, or holding a meeting, right? Or deciding what to do with the budget surplus. So all these kinds of will be role playing. Table quizzes can be conducted on the end of any topic. So we can split the class into groups of 3, 4, 5, and then the team with the highest score wins. we should make sure that each group has at least one strong member. And students learn from each other and they will be having the great sense of achievement. Crosswords, they can be used individually or pairs or in the small groups. It is easily created using the resources on the internet and it is ideal for transition year students, right? And it is suitable for all these types of syllabus. Word searches, when complete, students should write the definition of the word and give an example there. It should not end for that, right? At the back of the sheet or in their copy. Mind map is related to the cross map. So for this, we can use the mindmister.com that is available freely. Paired reading, it can be reading the bite-sized chunks silently. They have to summarize and write down the important points. And then they can decide on the most important points, devise question, check comprehension, and then create a visual among it. Then it can be drill review pairs. Students drill each other over material until they are certain that each other knows and can remember all the material. So teacher, when the pairs have finished, they should check their answers and the another pair. In the similar way, we can also use the problem of the turn to your neighbor summaries. So it can be like, say, one student is active and another is passive, right? So in that situation, we have to use the word turn to your neighbors. Okay. So students should listen carefully to their partner's explanation. They should create a new joint answer that is superior to their initial individual work. So the teacher can randomly select students to explain the joint answer they created with their partner. Four-step review means what? Useful for correction of the homework for the steps. So if they write the answer individually, the group members answer together. The teacher gives the answers. Groups check how they did and reteach each other. Matching exercises is, it can be definition and explanation. It is used in exam situation. It can also be created on the internet. And finally, it can be whip around. Whip around in the sense, students sit in a group of 3 or 4, taking turns. Students have to say one thing that they have learned during the class or the topic, continue until they run out of the topic. So what is the teacher's role in active learning? Teacher moves from being the sage on the stage to the guide on the side. So we will keep guiding the students on the side. Teacher methods are student centered so that individual reading assignments, isolated work will move away from the student, and teachers will become coaches, sources of information and encouragement sources rather than one at this stage. So the tips that we have to remember is, use short segments, like say you have 3 minutes to complete the first 2 questions. Then keep the group size small, usually typically 2 to 3 is the best. Don't let the students to choose their own groups, and carefully monitor the groups. So when we work in groups, we should always remember, give encouragement, respect one another, stay on task, use quiet voices, participate actively, stay in our group. This is the meaning of the groups. Okay, so that is the meaning of group. Graphic organizers means we should use a visual method. It can be used for pre-teaching or teaching a topic, assessment for learning, studying, revision of a topic. This is one of the interesting ways of prioritizing the rank ideas, that is ranking the ladder: title, equipment, method, control, results, and conclusion. So step ladder means use the topics that is involving on the steps one by one. So basically we use it in our scientific method of the research. We observe, then we come up with a hypothesis, we test the hypothesis, then we come to the result, interpretation, conclusion. Again, we go back to our hypothesis and see whether it is true or false, right? Limitation is, it extends our basic knowledge, but it is only ability to interpret the results. Okay, so that is known as your step ladder. Sequence start when topic involves a sequence of events, right? So project guidelines means we should plan a topic, take photos, right? And the type of enterprise involved, then put all the sections together and then submit a project, right? So overall, if we see, these are the various ways where we can actually see that various strategies of the active learning. So there is a tool known as eduflow.com. Okay, it is a free tool that anyone can use. So it is a type of what you can say think, pair, share technique, that is peer reviewing. Okay, peer reviewing. So for one of the courses, I will show an example here. So once we sign up as a instructor, okay, once we sign up as an instructor, so as we can see, we will be having the tabs as course, summary and participants. So first we have to go to the participants, and then we have to invite the students, or if any co-faculty or co-instructors, we can add the email IDs of the students here. File import or any copy paste also we can do. Okay, then after inviting the students, we can go to course. Here there is one submission, submitting your the work. We can put the settings here. Okay, so how many submissions has to be made? Okay, we can set description, and the editing, students can edit, they can make the changes or not, you can or cannot. So those things has to be settings you can always make. Open set and deadline, what is the date range? Okay, and then we have the review work done by your peer, done by your peers. As of now there is no reviews, okay, as of now. But if we see the summary of this, right now for one submission there are two students, they have completed their work, but they have not reviewed their peer work. Okay, so in the student, so let me log into the uh, student account here. Hello, can you mute all? Yes, okay. Okay, so this is a free tool known as the eduflow.com. Okay, so in the eduflow.com, once we sign up, so this is the instructor account that we get. So on the respective course, we will be having the number of works. Okay, submit your work or peer review, it will be there here. So now as a this is from the instructor portal, we can see the summary now. As of now, there are two students who have completed their work, and they have not done the review work by peers. So I'm talking about that think, pair, share. Okay, so that is peer review. So in the student account, okay, so it says, hi Abhishek, welcome back. Okay, so in the, okay, so let me share both of the windows, right? So yeah, okay, so the student account is like this. Okay, this is Abhishek account. Okay, in the student account, he has actually submitted the work, as you can see. Okay, now there will be the review part here, review now. Okay, so he can start reviewing the student peers. There is some assignment here, so it says this is the work from student 2 here. So it says mention something that your classmate did well. So the point, we can say what are the points that are correct, right? And then mention something that your classmate could improve at, right? Say you can say the points that are not correct, right? So then he can submit the review. Okay. So once the review has been saved here, review, as you can see, the review is complete. After this only the submission 2 is allowed, like that. So let me share the screen of the instructor now. Now in instructor, how does it come? Let me go to summary once again. Since one review is complete, okay, so we can go to course, and then we can go to summary, right? Review work done by your peers, right? So as you can see in the course, here it will be one review. Okay, so this is the review work done by the peers. So the review is shown here. See, it says who are all reviewed, and it shows it is the second. These are the submissions. Okay, so as we can see here, we can see mention something that the points that are correct, the points that are not correct, right? And then we can see what is the feedback of this. No reflection to show as of now, right? So we can select here review and reflect on your feedback here. We have to give a feedback on this, right? So Abhishek has not received any feedback, right? No reviews to show here as of now. So in this way, the peer reviewing between the students can be done. Okay, so these are the ways it can be done. So eduflow.com, I think everyone can use as a part of their course, and use it for the active learning strategy. So just to summarize the entire summary of the active learning here, the summary is, as an educator, we are in the light of the academic setting, and we have to set the mood that provides support, right? That provides support and make a difference on the lives around us, right? So we have to use that power to the best of our ability to shape the lives for the better. So active teaching strategies promote vibrant learning. So just to conclude my talk, the greatest danger for most of us is not that our aim is too high